Okay, chapter 3. We're back and ready to do it. So we'll jump into bubble tea, get this out of the way. I'm like getting sick of this segment. So we'll keep it going, I guess. I'm getting some kind of eyes right now, but I'm not looking at that. So I have dragon fruit black tea. Have you ever tried a dragon fruit before? I haven't. That's why I know that they're just kind of like a lukewarm watermelon. But this is pretty good. And
you know that because I told you that.
It's good. I like it. What do you got?
I'm not into dragon fruit personally,
what
but the tea is good.
Okay.
The tea is good. I have brown sugar milk tea with a salted milk cap.
Stop the cap.
It's way too sweet for me. I mean, I guess you would think that's weird since it is brown sugar milk tea, but I have had really good brown sugar milk tea that's not this sweet.
How are the matcha thingies?
They're much better.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking that the bubble tea is kind of like the gachapon of drinks. That won't mean anything to you, I guess.
No.
Yokel. Okay, so bubble tea segment Finn. I'm happy about that. Let's continue. Chapter 3. Oh, wait, but first, somebody has to recant on some bullshit that they said last video. So let's get to it. I knew this was... Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. So what do you want to say here? Go ahead.
Corrections and clarifications.
New section.
I was really reflecting on the whole whether this is NC-17, and I think there are far worse things that children can see.
And you said it wasn't.
I did. Yes, let's be clear. I said I didn't think it was. Like I was saying, I do think there are far worse things that children can see.
Like what?
Than sex. But this
like
is just special. This is just a whole new level. So yeah, I take that back. I do think it deserves a NC-17 rating. And I just want to clarify that whatever crude humor makes its way into the video after we've discussed this, the chapter,
crude humor,
is all you're doing. It's none of mine.
She has nothing to do with the editing in. That's all me. So
yeah.
Whatever I do,
I'm mortified, but I'm dedicated to this.
Okay.
So
I'll use film more to it. Edit tattoo a dick on your forehead. How about that? Let's talk about chapter 3. This is a fantastic chapter, and I guess we were talking about standout scenes and stuff, but I realized through reading this and from me and Gwith talking that it's more going to be talking about characters, because that's going to get us through the scene without just recounting the entire deal. Is there something you wanted to bring up here?
I just really enjoy the opening with Guts, just because he has this this attitude that nothing matters anymore. So he'll do something like throw severed head up into the arms of the Count.
Yeah, so the Count, right. So that's one first character we have there. And he looks like Jabba the Hutt.
I was actually thinking, because, I'm not too familiar with Star Wars. So I was thinking more a eunuch, just because he's professing to care so much for his people, but he's morbidly obese, and there's just this
yeah, he is pear potato shaped.
Yeah, and it calls to mind gluttony or overindulging, and
which you're saying eunuchs are
well, it's just this fantasy trope that eunuchs eat so much and they're usually overweight.
Do you know what a eunuch is?
Yes, I do.
What is a eunuch?
A eunuch has had a part of
their toes,
their private parts removed.
Their toes.
I actually don't know the specifics of what.
It's their balls.
Has been removed.
It's their balls. You do know that.
I I do now.
Okay, so
I actually thought it was everything. So
check out castrati.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. So Google it. All right. So
you're not gonna talk about it?
I can. Those beautiful young boys' choir voices, they go away when the balls drop. So they used to lop them off. So that's castrati, as in let's make castration sound cute. I like that. It's a little Audi at the end. Bugatti. Okay. So that scene also had some executioners in it. Mm-hmm. And I really like that visual concept. And I started thinking about executioners to see them because they have all these hoods on. And some of them have the things going back and some to the side, the little like socks or whatever. And, they're these brute dudes. And I'm just thinking like, that's a good, like if you have murderous intent, like if you have the killing intent, that's a good job for you, right? Like, being an executioner, that's a pretty good bit because you can get your murderous rage out. And then, so I looked up just a little bit about executioners. So I was like, what can I dig up here? And I found the 7 most notorious executioners' names throughout history.
The 7 executioners. Von Schmidt, Diary of Death. The Prop Punisher, Jan Needlar. The Hatchet Man, Jack Koketch. Chocolate Charlie, Charles Henry Sampson. Lady Betty, the Warden from Hell. Giovanni Battista Bugatti, Under the Hair. And Albert, Money of Old Road.
Okay, Finn.
Wow. And so what's the latest period of time that one of these people was operating?
The latest period of time was good old Albert, Money for Old Rope. Like, that's a fucking epithet there. Money for Old Rope, brother. Don't mess with it. You can't figure out how you're going to die from that. Maybe hanging. Okay. Albert Pierre Point, and that is 1905 to 1992. That was a World War II boy. He was hanging Germans for war crimes, apparently.
I see.
I didn't do too much research on this, but I just wanted to do a roll call, so it is what it is. All right, and then also there's another character there. So we have another sort of priest, helper, confidant type character, reluctant confidant. And it's another mayoral type person, and his name is Dahl, by the way. He gets mentioned one time, and he's just a really sad priest who is selling out all the people in the town to the count for being heretics. So it's that is what that is. Mm-hmm. Did you want to say anything else about that scene? You were talking about the severed head.
So this is my burning question. Does Guts imprint the brand on the alleged heretic's head, or was it there already? Because it's implied that it's there already just because you never see her forehead.
Yeah, the hair's in front of the, right.
But I thought, in my opinion, he somehow, I've looked over and over to see if I could find this spot where he's putting it on his neck. They don't it's
drawing with the thing. So I feel looking at it though, if you look at the brand on Guts's neck, mm-hmm. It has it looks almost like it was actually burned in a line, there's raveled up skin all around it, and the girl's is completely black. Mm-hmm. It is just one solid color. It doesn't have the skin burn in. So I do feel probably he drew it on there, but it is sort of a question now. If you've read the series, you probably can figure out the answer to that, but you don't. You can. Mm-hmm. So no. So fuck you. You don't know. All right. Yeah. Anything else about that?
Yeah, and I think unless it just appeared on her that day or something, and they were she probably would have been caught by something else before mm-hmm. she had been executed.
If she's a normal person, she's not going to be fighting through.
Yeah. And my other. the other thing that I noticed about that scene that was really interesting to me was when the Count sees the brand on her forehead, he says, "The Black Swordsman." And that got me thinking.
So he knows, right?
Yeah, and how? How does he know? Because I don't, you know, you can argue like there are messengers that are behind the scenes and going to different places. But I was wondering if the creature that seems to be in these people is just one.
Like hive mind, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And like there are pieces of this creature in multiple people, but it knows, it has a hive mind.
Well, good. So you should be wondering this stuff. And of course, that's not going to be answered here. Okay, and then so Guts gets chased by a bunch of the Count's soldiers, right? He walks off after being a bad motherfucker. Actually, he does a kind of thing with the blood from the brand, which I thought was pretty cool. Edgelord, bad boy.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, then what? Because, I mean, he gets chased by these peeps, right? And then...
So I just noticed this very interesting narration outside of everything that I had never seen before, where it's talking about the sword and just letting us know what kind of, that it's just a slab of iron or something like that.
So actual narration. So this is like Mira talking about the sword.
Mm-hmm.
You getting into this Buster Sword business?
I actually, one of my favorite pieces of art in this chapter features the sword. It's
Okay.
pretty badass. I like it a lot.
Okay, so you're turning around. Is that going to be in a corrections next chapter? We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, you know, I'm a real sucker for like the idea of swordsmanship and being at the ready and
Okay.
you know.
So, well, and in that sense, like, it is not like a regular sword. Like, he's like, that narration is saying like it's not even a sword, it's like a slab of iron. So it is kind of like it's almost like a sharp club in a way. And so that's a good segue to talk about Zondark, Lord Zondark. And so he's called Captain and Lord in the same thing. So he's obviously higher status. And so Zondark has a warhammer. And so I thought that was pretty fun. It's cool to get different weapons in there. And then like Mira's like billing it like the warhammer is made to break weapons or whatever, you know? Like it's like a pickaxe and it's like putting blunt impact at a specific point, you know, so it should be able to shatter stuff. But I went and looked at pickaxes, right? And so, or warhammers rather, and they're like in between, they're like longer than a mace. It's an in-between between a mace or a flail and a halberd, right? So a halberd's like longer, that's like a pole axe or a pole arm with like an axe head at the end. But they're not actually used to break weapons. Supposedly they're more for like just piercing armor or like thunking people on the head, and like the impact of it hitting armor like fucks you up. And like if the armor's weaker, it can crack into it. So, and they're also made to like break into shit, which I guess it's like made to break into castle walls and stuff. And so there are a lot of scenes there where Zondark is, you know, he's challenging Guts and he's like, I'm gonna fuck you up, see how you do, boy, son. And he's, you know, throwing the warhammer around and he's cracking shit, and Guts is kind of like getting out of the way. This is the first like human time, because in this like match or battle, whatever, against all these people, Guts is just like tossing him around, which makes sense because he's been tangling with demons. And he, you know, it's like lots of lobbing bodies across the waist, and a lot of livers and spleens and all that. Intestines, all the good, yeah, all the yummy bits flying around. So kind of, I feel like you're getting, maybe it's easy to get desensitized to this at this point, because it's just these people are not capable of fucking with Guts in any capacity, and he's just taking him out hardcore. But he is like maybe running out of breath with like there's a bunch of people around. So Zondark has this, and I know you wanted to say something about this. Zondark has this face mask, right? So his face is armored, and I think it's fucking hilarious looking, because it's like, that would just be scary. Like seeing a giant armored person with this big lips made out of metal, like mask, is just weird. And it's clear like he wanted to protect his face, which goes along with the Lord thing, because it's like, I'm a Lord, like it's better, you know, I can't get my face smashed in or whatever. But then he does get his mask completely smashed, and he, you know, looks like a total lunkhead. Like it's absurd, you know, the way he looks. Anyway, so did you want to say something about that? I think you did.
I don't know. I think I should just let you keep going.
Go ahead.
Yeah, about the big lips, I have actually noticed that the soldiers that are highlighted specifically, they all have this kind of like flat-headed look with like big lips, almost like he has this this conception of what a meathead is supposed to look.
Do you think that's like him depicting Americans? I mean, is Guts that way? Guts is a little more like finessed.
Yeah, no, he isn't at all. There's just this look that he gives these meathead guys that really gets it across. That really makes you realize that this is just, you know, somebody who's here for the brawn, not much else.
But Zondark's a little more of a character than just that. I mean, I would say he's like filling that spot in comparison to Guts.
Yeah, but he does have that face mask, and you know, there are lots of things in fantasy that you encounter and you might just pass it by and be like, oh, you know, part of the story. And after I saw it a few times, I started to wonder about it, if that was something that you actually found.
Like actual people with metal face coverings or whatever.
Yeah, like specialized to their face. And actually, so I looked it up, and there's something called an Emesa Helmet. I think it's a word in another language.
So is that like for arrows or something? Like
I'm not
protection?
Sure. It was the Roman cavalry would wear it.
Interesting.
And they're thought to have been individualized to the face, to each person's face.
So it looks like they're actual, like. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they think. Anyway, they did find one, and it had slits for the eyes. But then it had these holes under the eyes so that you could see below you.
Oh yeah, because that seems like that would really fuck with your peripheral vision, which is not bad for the combat.
And you know, I would have thought that a face mask that has like more room around your head would be more protective, just because if it hits you, you know, it's not going to hit your face or your head as much. But the description of this said it was incredibly protective, and it sounds maybe even more so than like one of your standard face helmets.
It seems like it wouldn't be for standard soldiers though, since like there's a you're not mass producing individual face masks, right?
No, yeah, that was also definitely a signifier that somebody was elite, just as, you know, Zondark has that special mask.
Interesting. Okay, so basically, Zondark v Guts, winner Guts, but then there's more soldiers coming out, right? And so some smoke bombs get thrown down, which I think is a little obscure, and then somebody's like, "Hey, come escape here!" A robed figure, right? And that figure is this other new character, Vargas. And Vargas is like sort of a hobbling little hobbit type man in a robe, and he takes him to his secret laboratory. They have a walk through the town.
I mean, hobbits are cute though, you know?
Yeah, I just mean, I'm sort of like racial profiling for size. Is what I was doing, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they do walk through the town, and everybody is shutting their doors and their windows against them, and they talk about this suspicious climate because people are getting executed for being heretics. And it was really interesting to me. One of my favorite things about this chapter is that guy Dahl. You know, we saw in the first chapter that the mayor knows this guy is eating people, so he knows there's something dramatically wrong.
Yeah, they're very similar character placements.
Yeah, but Dahl, it's not quite clear if he knows it, because he sees things, like he sees the count, like
like ripping the space open.
Yeah, and he's just like, and it's really amusing to me for them for him to see these things and sort of start to process that there's something not right. But it also just makes me wonder how the people as a whole are experiencing this.
The townspeople?
Yeah, like they're not up close seeing these strange things happening.
But you do see them like kind of disturbed, like generally, like when it shows like a pan of the town of the people and it shows everyone, like they do seem like everyone's got their head down.
Right, but is it more about like, oh, we're under somebody who is like totalitarian, or a theocracy,
like an authority. Right.
You know, as opposed
to...
and
the heretics talk. If this was made today, like I think that it would be harping on those political points more. As to where here it seems like they are doing that, but it's more concerned. Miura is more concerned with the fantasy story element and not like the politics. It's more like the natural, like hierarchical order of monster humans and then animals and people being like in a state of fear based on that. You know, the food chain's back in action for humans in this story is basically what's happening there.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I do think it's so interesting though. You know, it's kind of like a communist revolution in China where everybody was informing on each other and.
Oh yeah, they're definitely going to rat each other out as heretics, right?
And, you know, oftentimes these things were invented or, you know, weren't even true.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so I think it's refreshing that it's not so politically oriented, but you can't go forward for that. You obviously have to go back because this is an older series. So, so they walk through the town and then Vargas takes him to his doctor's office, which, going back to our last episode, oh, he's a doctor, and look, he's got some skulls and shit all over the place. So that's a good, that's repping good stuff, Dr. Feelgood.
Yeah, I mean, I just loved it in general. I love any place that's gonna have, you know, a lot of knowledge, a promise to learn more things. And
a little bit alchemical in
that's what you
optics.
Like.
I do
You're
like
into that.
Yeah, I do. There's a lot of bottles with aborted fetuses and homunculi in them, right?
Yeah, and you know, one of my favorite scenes here, there is even a little girl elf specimen in a bottle.
So this answers your question a little bit, huh?
I mean, I think it's a girl. You
well,
weren't
okay,
sure.
How about this? Does it have breasts?
It doesn't, but...
Oh, does it have a penis?
It doesn't.
Does it have...
So do you think they're just genderless? Am I too invested in the gender binary?
I think you're right to wonder, and that's what Miura is trying to do. You're definitely too invested in the gender binary.
I need to free my mind.
You need to free your mind by shackling.
More bubble tea.
You need to free your mind by shackling your gender concepts. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I would definitely, if I had to, someone put a gun to my head and was like, say who it is, mother, I'd say it's a girl. It's a girl fairy. Yeah. So,
you know, I guess we have to practice our woke mindset a little bit more.
The only differentiating thing is that the hair is long. But I mean,
I don't know. Like, to me, it looks like a girl. There's nothing too different except for the hair, but there's something about it.
The wings are different.
The wings are different. They're more butterfly-like.
Yeah, and less dragonfly-like or fly-like. I feel like I don't want to say Puck's wings look like fly wings because he's a little more beautiful than that.
Yeah, and like fly wings, they like adhere to the back, and his are still like sticking out.
Yeah.
So more like moth wings, maybe.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, but they're not. They're still transparent. Yeah. Okay, so and then. Yeah, so Vargas is an interesting character. He is basically saying, look what happened to me. Like, he unveils himself to have, like, a totally disfigured face. The only thing saving grace about him is his eye, and he's got 2 peg legs, which is like, this has got to be hell. If you have wooden pegs on your legs, like, holy crap. And so he's basically like, I want you to fuck the Count up. The Count has cut me to pieces and eaten me. So, your thoughts on that? How do you feel about that?
Grotesque. Absolutely grotesque.
Like, that is how you get somebody to want revenge on you, is let them live, you know, after you've eaten their body in front of them.
Yeah, that's some special stuff right there.
Yeah. But they take him. He takes him to a secret room, right? Which is cool because it's got a secret lever to get into the room, which is the bottom jaw of a shark moving it up, which is sick.
Yeah.
Right. You better watch out.
It's really more like a whale shark. You know, the mouth is just
Yeah, the mouth. Yeah, that's true. It's a very wide jawbone.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah. But it could be anything in this world, right?
That's true.
Right. I mean, that's a laboratory full of monsters and weird shit. And when I say weird shit, it's mainly like aborted fetuses in jars. So, so they go in there and Vargas is like, yeah, I want to show you this cool thing I've got. And it is a new like lore drop item. And I want you to tell me what you think about it.
So, Guts calls it a behelit.
A behelit, yeah.
Yeah. So he is definitely in the know. He knows what this is. He also knows what the count is. He states that to Vargas.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, he has a lot of knowledge here that I want to know. I want to find out what he knows about all this.
Yeah. So that's interesting because the main character still has most of the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got to start thinking like, what has happened to this poor boy? That he knows all this stuff, right? Because he's actually like, oh, holy fuck, like in his mind, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
when he sees the behelit.
Yeah, I didn't notice it at first, but he really.
Yeah, he's taken aback, as they say, and
yeah.
So that's interesting. And then, so what do you think about the behelit?
It's pretty cool looking. I would think if I heard about it that I would file this other thing into the grotesque category, but it's pretty cool. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did a good job with it.
Yeah. And clearly it's going to be important to the story, right? It's going to have some significance because Guts knows about it. And so that's the end of the chapter. Standout art, you said, was that scene for you?
Yeah, the one where he is poised to chop more people in half, and the swords along his back, and you know he's got his feet like ready for the next step. You know, it's like dancing. Mm-hmm. You know, I love dancing. There's
another scene though that I wanted to say was one of my favorite scenes, which is Puck comes in and saves the day as Guts is going to be fighting some. He's fighting the men, and there's some archers, and he's about to get shot by these archers. And then Puck zooms in, and I want you to do this. And say it with me. Ready? Mm-hmm. Solar flare!
Hey, yo, what the
Go ahead. Say it.
Solar flare!